They watched Earth from far away. From high above the stars, the Zorveth Empire scanned the small blue planet. "It's weak," said General Varkon, standing before a massive screen inside the war chamber of the Zorveth flagship. "No real defense systems, primitive technology, no known alliances." The room laughed. Dozens of alien commanders, each dressed in dark robes of war, nodded in agreement. For the Zorveth Empire, Earth looked like an easy target. Too easy. They had conquered over 300 planets in just the last 2 cycles. They were unstoppable. Every species they faced had either surrendered or been destroyed. But Earth? Earth looked like a joke. "We don't even need a full fleet." One of the officers smirked. "Just a scout wing," General Varkon agreed. "Send a small assault team," he ordered. "Let's remind this planet what real power looks like." The Zorveth Empire didn't think twice. That was their first mistake. Orbit above Earth. The assault team moved fast. 5 warships dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. Their plan was simple: scan the planet, jam communications, disable any military base they found, and return with results. But something unexpected happened. As soon as their ships crossed Earth's orbit, they vanished from Zorveth sensors. No signals, no noise, no escape pods, nothing. Silence. "What happened to them?" Varkon shouted. "Where's the live feed?" The Empire's technicians tried everything. They searched every frequency, every channel. They sent drones to the edge of Earth's gravity. Even the drones disappeared. "It's like they're being erased," a technician whispered. "Impossible," another said. "This is a primitive species. They don't have stealth tech. They don't have cloaking. They don't even have real space travel." But the data was clear. 5 Zorveth warships. Gone. Back on Earth, underneath the surface of the planet, deep inside a mountain bunker, human leaders were watching everything. They weren't surprised. They had been expecting this. Earth was not what it seemed. For over 70 years, Earth had watched the galaxy in secret. They saw wars. They saw empires rise and fall, and they stayed quiet. Hidden. But while the galaxy laughed at them, Earth was building. Underground labs, hidden weapons, quantum defense systems, artificial gravity traps, cloaked orbital mines, AI-controlled railguns, silent satellites that could erase anything entering orbit. Earth was not weak. They were simply waiting. The first human response. In a sealed command room under Antarctica, a signal was prepared. The message was short, simple, sent directly into the Zorveth Empire's main command network. No encryption, no trick, just pure confidence. "Don't test us again." The message echoed through every ship and base in the Zorveth Empire. At first, many thought it was fake, a joke, a glitch. But then, the Empire's homeworld experienced a blackout. Every screen, every communication, every military network, offline for exactly 60 seconds. And then, everything came back. Except one thing. All files about Earth were gone, deleted, wiped from every system. It was like Earth had never existed, and yet, the fear was now real. Panic behind pride. General Varkon sat alone in his command chair. His face, usually full of pride and arrogance, was now pale. "They're not primitive," he whispered. "They wanted us to think they were." A voice from behind said, "Should we send the full fleet?" Varkon did not answer right away. He remembered what happened to the last species that challenged Earth. The ones Earth had helped quietly, then vanished. "No one ever found those records again. We need more information," he finally said, "but no more attacks. Not until we understand what we're dealing with." But it was too late. The mistake had already been made. Across the galaxy on distant worlds, stories began to spread. A rumor of a planet where ships disappeared. A signal that could break into any system. a race that had never joined the Galactic Council, but watched everything in silence. Earth, they whispered in fear. Some thought it was just a ghost story. Others knew better, because one thing had changed: the balance of power in the galaxy. Inside Earth's core, in a black chamber deeper than any nation had ever built, a machine began to hum. It hadn't been touched in 200 years. It had one purpose only: a warning system. If Earth was attacked, it would wake. It was now awake. One word appeared on the screen in red. Phase 1. Active. Earth's guardians looked at each other. "It's starting," one of them said. And far above, in the cold dark of space, the galaxy waited. But Earth was not waiting anymore. The Zorveth Empire didn't believe in ghosts. They believed in firepower, warships, and total control. But now, they had a problem. 5 ships, strong, armed, fast, had entered Earth's orbit. And then, nothing. No signal, no wreckage, no return, just silence. The Command Council reacts inside the marble halls of the Empire's Central Command on Zorveth Prime. Panic was starting to crawl beneath the surface. "Maybe it's a wormhole," one officer said, eyes shaking. "Maybe a black hole near Earth," another offered. But none of the explanations made sense. Earth was a quiet, peaceful world. According to every scan, General Varkon stared at the empty hologram in front of him. It showed a perfect Earth system, no warships, no battle stations. But that was a lie. Something had destroyed 5 Zorveth ships without leaving a trace. And then, a second message came. Straight into the heart of the Empire's war room, "We see you." No source, no origin, just a flat voice, calm, human. The room went cold. Zorveth doubles down. "Send 10 ships," Varkon ordered, rising to his feet. "Heavy class, no scouts, no warnings." "But sir, no more delays," he barked. "I want answers. I want that planet cracked open." The Empire wasn't used to fear. They were used to domination, so now they came with force. 10 warships, 3 destroyers, 2 orbital carriers, hundreds of fighter drones. It was no longer a test. It was a show of strength. They thought Earth would panic. They were wrong again. Arrival over Earth. The 10 ships dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's orbit. Their arrival was like thunder in the void. Even the moon vibrated slightly under the impact of their energy fields. Inside the lead ship, Commander Ralek grinned. "We'll be back in an hour," he said. "Probably less." He launched drones, activated scanners, and powered up the primary. Weapons. Then, one by one, the system started failing. First, the scanners blinked off. Then the weapons refused to charge. Next, the lights on the control deck dimmed. "What's happening?" Ralek shouted. The crew scrambled. "We're being jammed." "But not from Earth," an officer said. "It's coming from inside the ship." Then came the final moment. Every ship's command console lit up red. A human message appeared in bold text. "You were warned." And just like that, all 10 ships disappeared. Back on Zorveth Prime, the loss hit like a hammer. General Varkon couldn't breathe. "This can't be real," he said softly. 10 ships. Gone. Just like the first 5. Now it wasn't a joke. Now the Empire understood. Earth wasn't weak. Earth was hiding, and the galaxy had never seen what Earth truly was. The Council begins. To fracture inside the high chambers of the Empire, arguments broke out. "Earth is using forbidden tech," one shouted. "Maybe we should talk to them," another whispered. General Varkon slammed his hand on the table. "We don't talk to prey," but someone else disagreed. Admiral Krith, a quiet and calculated leader, stepped forward. "This isn't prey," he said calmly. "This is something else. We attacked first. They only responded." That statement shook the room. The Empire never apologized, never showed weakness, but Earth wasn't acting like any enemy before. No retaliation, no demands, no invasion, just silence and total control. Inside Earth's defense core, underneath the Himalayan mountains, hidden by centuries of snow and secrets, Earth's defense core was fully awake. A group of elite human commanders watched holograms of the destroyed Zorveth fleets. "We warned them twice," one said. "They chose war," another replied. "They didn't speak with hate. They weren't celebrating." This wasn't revenge. It was protection, cold, necessary, precise. The Earth Council knew the truth. If the galaxy thought Earth was weak, they would attack. So Earth had built in silence. And now, the silence was over. Human technology, far beyond the Zorveth Empire had energy weapons. Earth had gravity wells. The Zorveth had cloaked drones. Earth had mind-linked satellites that could think and adapt. The Zorveth had fast warships. Earth had ships that didn't even appear on sensors. They hadn't just built weapons, they built ghosts, machines that could trap light, ships that could bend reality in small zones. AIs that could predict movements 5 steps ahead. It wasn't magic. It was focus, patience, planning. And now, the galaxy was seeing it for the first time. One last desperate move. The Empire couldn't lose face, so they prepared one more fleet. This one, massive. 50 warships, 10 cruisers, a capital dreadnought. All aimed at Earth, but Earth was already ready. As the fleet charged hyperspace and aimed for the Sol system, a ripple spread through the galactic network. All Zorveth ships, every single one, received a final broadcast from Earth. This time, it wasn't a warning. It was history. The message showed images, a human child playing under stars, Earth's cities growing, wars fought and lost, a world uniting, silence, and then preparation. A final sentence appeared on screen. "We asked for peace. You chose extinction." And then, all Zorveth engines shut down, not damaged, not attacked, turned off, by a code embedded deep in their systems, a code placed there years ago, long before the Empire even knew Earth existed. They had been watched for a long time. A growing fear across the galaxy, word spread fast. A tiny blue planet had erased 2 fleets and said nothing. The Zorveth Empire was shaken. 15 of their best warships were gone, not in battle, not in defeat, just gone. No debris, no escape pods, no survivors. Erased. And still, Earth said nothing. No response, no threats, just silence. But behind that silence, something massive was waking up. A probe's final message. Desperate to learn the truth, the Empire sent a single stealth probe, small, silent, fast. It was built to scan without being seen. Its mission: fly near Earth, record data, and escape. The probe entered Earth's system without a sound. Past Mars, past the Moon, entered Earth's orbit. And then, it saw something. Beneath the surface of the planet, deep underground, it detected a strange signal, a pattern, a pulse, artificial, ancient. It was not coming from a city, not from a base. It was coming from deep under Earth's crust, near the planet's core, a structure, no, a machine. The probe tried to send the data back, but before it could transmit even 1 byte, it froze. And in its final moment, it recorded a message. Not from Earth, not from humans, from the machine. 1 word: watching. Then the probe self-destructed. Inside the Empire's shadow network, the probe's final image reached only 1 person, Admiral Krith. He was different from the others. Calm, patient, dangerous in silence. He didn't care about politics. He cared about truth. And now, the truth scared him. He stood in his dark chamber, looking at the hologram, a pulse echoing from Earth's core. "What did we disturb?" he whispered. He searched ancient council records, stories, warnings, classified reports, and he found something chilling. Over 300 years ago, a galactic survey ship had visited Earth. Back then, humans were primitive, still using oil, still fighting small wars. But that ship never reported back. It vanished. Its last transmission, a whisper. "The planet is quiet. Too quiet." The council had erased the file, declared it a myth, but Admiral Krith knew better now. Earth's past is not what they thought. While the galaxy saw Earth as a young species, Earth had a secret. Long ago, after World War III, the nations of Earth united, not for peace, but for survival. They discovered something, a signal. Deep in the Arctic ice. It wasn't human. It was old, alien, deadly. It told of an ancient war that once touched Earth, then left it untouched. Whoever sent it was gone. But they left something behind. Blueprints, technology, knowledge, and a warning. "The galaxy will come again. Be ready." So Earth obeyed. They built underground cities, weapons powered by fusion and gravity, ships that could fold space, satellites that could rewrite data in enemy networks. They trained AIs to think like enemies. They created defense layers hidden under oceans, mountains, deserts. They called the system Project Sentinel. And now, the Sentinel was awake. Zorveths. "Leaders collapse in the High Court of Zorveth Prime," the council shouted. "This is madness," one screamed. "They were supposed to be animals." "They are gods in hiding," another yelled. "They are liars," shouted a third. "We must destroy them." Admiral Krith stood and said nothing, until now. "You tried to break the lock," he said softly. "And now the door has opened." The Emperor glared. "We are the rulers of the galaxy." Krith's eyes were cold. Not anymore. The room fell silent. Inside Earth's core, the Sentinel speaks miles beneath the surface of the Earth. Inside a black chamber of shifting metal and blue lights, the Sentinel pulsed. Its voice was not loud. It echoed like thought. It connected with Earth's leaders. "They have made their choice." A general nodded. "Yes, they want war." The Sentinel systems lit up. "Prepare Phase 2. Then, without launching a single ship, without firing a single weapon, Earth began its real attack. Not with guns, not with lasers, with control. Across the galaxy, systems begin to fail. It started small. A mining station in Zorveth space suddenly stopped working. Its AI refused commands. Then a warship began spinning slowly in orbit. Its thrusters wouldn't respond. Then, the Empire's central banking systems went dark for 12 minutes. 12 minutes was all it took. Millions of credits were moved. Weapon orders were canceled. Troop deployments were frozen. The Empire's communication satellites flickered. Their maps changed. Entire fleets were marked as destroyed, even though they were still intact. Confusion spread like wildfire. Earth didn't just destroy fleets. They rewrote reality, and no one could stop it. The galaxy starts to notice other empires, smaller ones, began to notice the chaos inside Zorveth space. Some smiled. Some stayed silent. One brave ambassador asked, "Who is doing this?" A single human reply came through the diplomatic net. "We are what you let us become." Admiral Krith's decision. Back in Zorveth Command, Admiral Krith knew what had to be done. He sent a private message to Earth. He didn't ask for peace. He asked for understanding. To his shock, Earth responded. One human face appeared on his screen. Calm. Gray-haired, wearing no armor, no medals, just eyes filled with strength. "You've poked a world that chose peace," the human said. "You will now feel the full price of disturbing it." Krith nodded slowly. I accept that. But I will stop this madness from inside. The human looked at him one last time. Then you are wiser than your leaders. The message ended. Earth's hidden power wasn't just tech, yes. Earth had weapons. Yes, Earth had tech, but Earth's true power was something else. They could wait, they could think, and when it was time, they moved with precision. They didn't brag, they didn't show off, they simply erased threats like they never existed. The Zorveth Empire had ruled the stars for centuries. They crushed worlds, they silenced rebellions. They feared no one. But now, the fear was inside them, and it was coming from a blue planet they once called primitive. Whispers in the high chamber on Zorveth Prime, the royal city buzzed with tension. Inside the high chamber, a place where silence was law, voices now echoed with panic. "How did we lose 15 ships?" one noble shouted. "They're rewriting our systems," another cried. "We can't track them, we can't even see them," said a third. But the Emperor, tall, armored, and cold, refused to show fear. "We are still the Empire," he said. "Earth is clever, yes, but not unbeatable." He turned to Admiral Krith. "You believe they're hiding something beneath their surface?" Krith nodded slowly. "They have machines older than our empire. They've been preparing for us." The Emperor's lips curled in anger. "Then we burn the planet to the ground." The plan, show of power to restore control and pride, the Emperor ordered a new strategy. No full invasion, no more lost fleets, just a warning. 10 massive dreadnoughts would be sent near Earth, not to attack, but to hover, to show Earth what real power looked like. They called it Operation Iron Gaze. "They will see our ships in the sky," the Emperor said, "and know their place." It was meant to intimidate. But Earth didn't blink. Arrival over Earth. The 10 dreadnoughts exited hyperspace near Jupiter, huge shadows in space, each one larger than a city. Their weapons were active but locked, no shots fired, just presence. Inside, the lead ship, Commander Zevar, watched Earth through a digital scope. "So quiet," he muttered. "Too quiet." They moved in slowly, past Mars, then the Moon, and just as they reached Earth's orbit, everything stopped. Engines froze. Weapons shut down. Navigation crashed. On every ship, screens turned black, then white. Then a message appeared. "You should not be here." Earth's response. Psychological war. Earth never fired a single shot. Instead, they played with the minds of the enemy. Every soldier inside the dreadnoughts began to hear things, footsteps in empty halls, faint breathing behind them, whispers in languages they didn't understand. The lights flickered. Walls bent slightly, as if the ships were alive. Panic spread. Some crews tried to escape in pods, but the pods wouldn't launch. Others tried to send distress signals, but no signal escaped orbit. Then, Earth sent a second message. "We warned you. This is mercy." And just like that, the dreadnoughts were released. Engines restarted. Lights returned. But now every Zorveth soldier on board was shaking. They returned to space without ever touching Earth. Not in victory, but in fear, cracks in the Empire. When the dreadnoughts returned, they were not celebrated. They were pitied. Soldiers who had once mocked Earth now stayed silent. Commanders who laughed at humans now spoke in hushed tones. Some even refused to go near a control panel again, and inside the council, whispers began to rise. Should we offer peace? Can we even fight them? Have we already lost? The Emperor silenced them, for now, but the cracks had formed. The Empire's pride was no longer solid. It was shaking. Admiral Krith's secret meeting late at night, Admiral Krith met with 5 other high officers. Trusted minds, silent warriors. "We can't win this," one whispered. They control systems with thought, another said. We underestimated the humans, Krith replied. But worse, we refused to listen. He pulled out a hidden file, something only he had access to. Inside, old scans of Earth's moon. Beneath its surface, structures, machines, weapons, far older than human civilization, not built by humans, but used by them. Earth has become the keeper of forbidden power, Krith said. They didn't start this war, but they will finish it. Earth's orbit. The silent sentinel back in Earth's orbit, the Sentinel satellite watched. No one knew who built it. It never spoke. It never moved, but it saw everything, and when the dreadnoughts came, it learned. Inside its core, new protocols activated. Phase 3. Psychological disarmament. Earth didn't just fight with weapons. It fought with fear, with silence, with control. The Bo. Message Earth. Never sent back on Earth. The Global Defense Council met deep beneath Iceland. They had watched everything. The dreadnoughts, the panic, the return. One general looked at the others. Shall we send a warning to the Empire? The Council. Leader shook his head. No, he said. Let their fear speak for us. Inside the Empire, rebellion brews on distant colonies of the Zorveth Empire. Small resistances began to grow. Earth defies them, whispered a miner on Zoltrun 5. Maybe we can too. Did you hear? Said a merchant. Humans erased, fleets without firing. They're like ghosts. Hope was a dangerous thing, and Earth had just given it to the galaxy. Some officers within the Empire even started wearing hidden symbols, circles with a blue dot in the center, the symbol of Earth. It was quiet rebellion, but it was spreading. Orbit of Karthus, Empire-controlled planet. 14 days after Earth's invasion, High Marshal Trexen stood in the control center of Karthus Defense Command, staring at the screen with a growing frown. 3 human ships had just exited warp. Only 3. Only 3 ships? The communication officer laughed. Is that all Earth could send? Trexen didn't smile. He watched the display. The ships weren't broadcasting any identification, but the Empire's sensors confirmed their origin. Terran. And more worrying, those ships were huge. Even at long distance, the outline of the lead ship stood out. It was shaped like a long black dagger with no lights, no visible weapons, and no energy leaks, like a dead thing drifting in the dark, but it moved with purpose. Karthus Command locked targeting systems on them. Trexen gave the order. Fire. A warning shot. Let's see if they run. But before the energy cannons fired, the Terran lead ship spoke, not in words, not in sound. It spoke through action. A blue pulse fired from the ship's underbelly. It wasn't a beam or missile, just a quiet shimmer, like a ripple in space. The Empire's defense grid went black. Shields offline. Weapons unresponsive. Satellites dead. Even lights in the command room flickered. What just happened? Someone shouted. Trexen looked around. All he could say was, that was a warning. Earth's secret weapon. Dawnbringer, the E. Terran ship, codenamed Dawnbringer, drifted forward slowly. It was one of Earth's black projects, built in silence, tested in secret. Powered by stolen alien tech and human innovation. Wrapped in an experimental stealth coating. Weapon systems untested. Until now. Captain Ilara Miles sat in her command chair, calm but cold. Enemy defenses are blind, her officer reported. Ilara gave one nod. Send message. Leave Earth alone. This is your only chance. The message was transmitted. Empire Command on Karthus received it. Short, direct, terrifying. Should we respond? Trexen asked. His officer stared at him. No, he whispered. We're not ready. But that silence was a mistake. Elsewhere in the galaxy, High Council of the Empire, when word of Karthus's blackout reached the Empire's central command, the Council met in secret. The footage from Carthus shocked them. 3 Terran ships entered orbit. No shots were fired, and yet Carthus lost total control. Counselor Valjac was furious. "This is impossible. Earth was a Tier 2 planet just 5 cycles ago." Counselor Narrated looked uneasy. "Then perhaps we underestimated how fast they adapted. Perhaps we taught them too much during the old trade agreements." Another counselor stood. "I say we respond now. Crush them before they grow stronger." But Narrated shook her head. "They already are stronger. Carthus is one of our oldest colonies. They wiped its defenses with a wave." Valjac slammed his fist. "It was only 3 ships." "But how many more do they have?" Narrated whispered. No one answered. Back on Earth. Command Center. Omega General Royce paced behind the rows of officers. A large holographic map of the galaxy hovered before him. Red zones showed Imperial space. Blue zones showed Earth's limited influence, and now a small pulse of white light flickered over Carthus. "Success. Any reaction from the Empire?" Royce asked. "Yes, sir," a comms officer replied. "Interference in their subspace chatter, scrambled communications, confusion, but no counterattack." "Good," Royce nodded. "That means they're scared." He turned to Admiral Lin. "It's time for Phase 2. Phase 2, strike without war. Earth wasn't trying to start a full war. Not yet. They wanted the Empire to feel small, to feel the fear they had once forced on humanity. Operation Blind Sky was activated. Terran ships deployed silence pods into orbit above 5 key Imperial systems. Small, stealthy drones that could shut down planetary defense systems for hours. No attack. Just silence. It worked. Everywhere the pods hit, fear followed. Empire citizens panicked. Governors called for answers. Fleet movements slowed. Trust in the Council crumbled. Earth hadn't fired a shot, but the Empire was bleeding control. But not. Everyone was afraid. In the deep reaches of the Empire, a fleet admiral named Torgan watched the reports. He was old school, loyal, brutal. "Earth is playing with shadows," he spat. "It's time we shine a light." He activated Crimson Vengeance, his personal dreadnought. "Set course for Earth," he growled. "Let's see if they're ready." But Earth already knew he was coming, and they were ready for him. The message that echoed across the galaxy wasn't a declaration of peace. It was a statement of war. Earth had spoken, and now everyone was listening. The Empire's once confident. Fleets floated in space, stunned by the destruction of the advanced scout squadron. No signals, no survivors, just silence, and a message burned into the comms. "This is Earth. You wanted war, now you'll have it." In the Imperial War Council. Chamber on the planet Varnock, panic had replaced pride. The room, usually filled with calm strategy and calculated arrogance, now roared with shouting voices. "They destroyed 12 cruisers in seconds. Our long-range scans can't even detect what hit them. The humans shouldn't have. This kind of power. It's impossible." Grand Commander Jurex, the one who had declared Earth weak and unprepared, stood silently. His yellow eyes watched the chaos unfold. This wasn't just a tactical loss. This was humiliation. He raised a hand, and the room slowly quieted. "Earth," Jurex said, almost growling the word. "The humans have crossed a line. They believe this was a victory, but we will crush them for it." Meanwhile, aboard the ESS Revenant, orbiting Jupiter's shadow sector, Captain Era Tran looked over new intelligence. The Revenant was Earth's newest prototype, a destroyer wrapped in anti-sensor tech, equipped with weaponry the rest of the galaxy didn't even know existed. But it wasn't just the ship that was dangerous. It was the people aboard. Earth's military had changed. It had trained in secret, studied the enemy, and built weapons not to match the galaxy, but to surpass it. Era's voice echoed through the command deck. "We have their attention now. The Empire will come for us. But they still think we're a cornered prey. She turned toward her second-in-command, Lieutenant Hale. Let's show them they've cornered a predator. On the outer edge of the Orion Passage, an Empire cruiser patrol scanned the region, expecting resistance. But they weren't prepared for what they found. The darkness in space seemed unnatural. Their systems flickered. Scans failed. Then, silence. Single pulse came through the void. One small ship, human-made. It moved fast, too fast for sensors to lock. Before the cruisers could react, one by one, their systems went offline. Their engines froze, their weapons died, and then they exploded. Not with fire, but with pure collapse, as if gravity had eaten them from within. The Revenant had tested its new weapon, the Void Lance, a prototype that folded energy into compressed points of space. It didn't just destroy ships, it erased them. Back on Earth, world leaders no longer argued over politics or resources. Now everything was focused on war. United Earth Command had activated old protocols, some even predating first contact. The Ark-1 bunkers opened beneath the Antarctic ice. Factories across Mars began operating non-stop. Artificial minds, restricted until now, were awakened. Earth wasn't just defending anymore. It was preparing to dominate. In deep space, a massive fleet began to form. Earth had sent a signal to its hidden allies. Not every species liked the Empire, and not all of them knew Earth had been preparing for this day. The human message had stirred something older than war, fear. And in that fear, some species saw hope. The rebellion was small, for now, but whispers of Earth's strike had spread. One world had stood alone and struck back. On Varnock, Commander Jurek studied the last transmission from the destroyed patrol, static. Then a final flash of a dark silhouette, sharp, fast, glowing with unnatural blue. Human technology, he muttered. But then he saw something stranger. Behind the ship, far in the distance, was a structure. Massive, floating near Saturn. Jurex zoomed in. A ring, a station, no, a weapon. Begin full-scale invasion plans, Jurex said coldly. They want war, we'll give them extinction. But Earth had already expected that. Inside the hidden Earth base, codenamed Aegis 9, General Laura Shin watched projections of Imperial troop movements. She didn't panic. She smiled. They're following the path we left for them. The trap was set. The galaxy thought Earth was weak, but now the Empire would walk straight into the teeth of something they never expected, a planet that had spent centuries preparing for this moment, a species that didn't start wars, but ended them. The Imperial fleet came with full force, thousands of warships, carriers, dreadnoughts, planet breakers, all heading toward Earth. Commander Jurex stood at the front of his flagship, Vraxian's Wrath, proud and confident. He looked at the holographic map. The system around Earth looked simple. 3 planets, 1 star, few defense stations. But that was the lie. Far from Earth's surface, inside the asteroid belt, hundreds of small objects floated harmlessly. To the Empire's scanners, they looked like mining debris or broken rock. In truth, they were sentinel mines, each one loaded with smart AI, cloaking fields, and directed gravity weapons, and they were waiting. The moment the first wave of Empire cruisers crossed into the belt, the mines activated. Silence was broken by chaos. One cruiser bent inward, collapsing like it had been crushed by an invisible fist. Another ignited from within, its energy core torn apart. Screams filled the Empire comms. "Unknown weapons! They're everywhere! We can't lock targets! Everything's cloaked!" Commander Jurex's voice rang out. "Push forward, burn everything, Earth falls today." But Earth wasn't falling. It was luring. Captain Ira Tran, aboard the ESS Revenant, watched from her stealth position behind Jupiter's shadow. "They've taken the bait," she said. She turned to her weapons officer. Phase 2. All across the solar system, Earth's true defenses came online. Saturn's rings shimmered, and out of them rose massive hidden rail platforms. Titan's surface split open, revealing anti-capital ship cannons. Venus's cloud cover parted to show floating defense satellites, once thought lost decades ago. Even Earth's moon had been armed, its dark side lined with launch tubes for Striker drones. The battle had truly begun. Empire ships fired into the darkness, hoping to hit something. But Earth's weapons fired with precision. A carrier-class ship, the Imperial Hammer, was torn in half by a single kinetic slug launched from Titan's surface, traveling faster than sound, undetectable until it hit. Earth's war computers had been practicing this moment for years. Each shot was calculated, each death intentional. Still, the Empire kept pushing. They broke through the minefield. They reached Earth's outer orbit. Jurex smiled. There it is, the prize. But as they neared Earth's gravity well, they saw it. The clouds parted, the oceans shimmered, and something rose from the Pacific. It wasn't a city, it wasn't a ship, it was Leviathan. Leviathan was Earth's most secret project, a mobile fortress the size of a mountain, part machine, part AI, fully powered by the planet's molten core. It rose with the ocean dripping off its hull, towering even from orbit. The first Empire dreadnought that fired at it vanished in seconds, not exploded, erased. Leviathan's core weapon, the Singularity Lance, created micro-black holes for half a second, enough to tear apart matter on a molecular level. And it wasn't alone. Leviathan activated its defense grid, and dozens of smaller sub-fortresses launched into the air, forming a defensive shell around Earth. Back aboard the Vraxian's Wrath, Jurex's confidence started to crack. This isn't defense, he whispered. This is a trap. Then came the final blow. The Revenant decloaked behind the Empire's main command fleet. It didn't send a message. It didn't warn them. It just opened fire. One by one, the Empire's command ships were picked off. Their dreadnoughts, disabled, their carriers falling into Earth's gravity. They were surrounded, outmaneuvered, overwhelmed. Panic took over the Empire's fleet. Orders became screams. Formation fell apart. And then, communications were cut off. A virus, human-made, called Wrath X. It spread through the Empire's systems in seconds, shutting down their AI, their guidance, even their life support. It was over. In just hours, the fleet that was supposed to crush Earth was gone. Only wreckage remained. General Laura Shin stood on Earth's surface, looking up at the burning sky. Ships were falling like comets. She didn't smile. This was just the first fleet, she said. She turned to the world leaders beside her. Now they know Earth is not prey. But we must not wait for the next wave. She looked toward the stars. It's time we take the fight to them. In the distance, the Leviathan slowly lowered back into the ocean. The sky returned to peace. But peace was no longer Earth's goal. Retribution was. The Imperial fleet entered the dark region of space near Sector K-27, where their scanners detected the last known location of Earth's rogue strike force. It was a silent zone. No stars nearby, no signals, only endless void. Admiral Kelzor paced inside the command ship of the 12th Fleet. His eyes scanned the black through the window, unsettled. Still no trace? He asked. The science officer, a tall creature with translucent skin, replied, Nothing, Admiral. No energy signatures. It's like they vanished. Kelzor narrowed his eyes. Nothing vanishes without a trace, especially humans. The fleet slowed its movement. Over 300 ships hovered cautiously. They sent out small drones to scan the space. One by one, the drones disappeared. No signals, no wreckage, nothing. A deep chill spread through the command center. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A strange sound echoed through the ship's internal systems. A low hum. Mechanical. Alien. Shut it down, Kelzor shouted. Trace the sound. But the engineers were already frozen. One of the consoles sparked, then exploded. That's when the message came, a simple, clear voice in perfect galactic common. This void belongs to Earth now. Kelzor's blood ran cold. Defensive formations, now! But it was too late. From the darkness around them, human stealth cruisers emerged, black as the void, invisible to radar. They moved with a speed that no Imperial tech could match. One cruiser fired a pulse weapon, blue and silent. An entire Imperial frigate collapsed inward, like its mass had been erased. "They're using gravity weapons!" one officer screamed. "No!" another cried. "That's forbidden tech!" But humans didn't care about alien laws anymore. They had been underestimated. Now they were the terror in the dark. Across the fleet, panic spread. Ships began firing blindly into the darkness, but every shot missed. The void answered back, with death. One Imperial destroyer after another went silent, systems fried, crews vanished. No alarms, no explosions, just sudden, terrifying silence. Kelzor clenched his fists. "Pull back, we're retreating." "Too late," the pilot whispered. "They're inside." The humans had boarded the command ship. Doors burst open. Black-armored soldiers with glowing visors stormed in. Their weapons didn't fire bullets or lasers. They used kinetic waves, silent but lethal. Kelzor watched his guards fall without even a sound. He backed away, but a figure stepped in front of him. A human, not just a soldier, a commander. Calm, precise, and merciless. "You should have left Earth alone," she said. Kelzor raised his hands. "We can talk. We can—" The human stunned him before he finished his sentence. On Earth, President Vale monitored the battle from a secret command post. "Status? Void trap successful," replied the AI. 80% of enemy fleet neutralized. Minimal human casualties. Vale exhaled. "Good. Send the message." To the rest of the galaxy, a warning spread. This was not an attack. This was a lesson. Earth will not be ruled. Earth will not be hunted. Anyone who threatens us will vanish. Silence followed, not from Earth, but from every Imperial outpost. Fear had entered their ranks. They thought Earth was weak. Now they were afraid to even whisper its name. The galaxy was quiet, but not peaceful. After the destruction in the Void Trap, the Imperial command was in chaos. Whispers spread across systems. Planetary governors questioned their safety. Military leaders argued. Some wanted to strike Earth again. Others were too afraid. In a dark war chamber deep inside the Imperial capital, High Lord Varnax slammed his clawed hand on the table. How could this happen? They were primitives. An old commander, his scales faded with age, replied softly, "They are not primitives anymore. We mistook their silence for weakness. That was our mistake." Varnax's eyes narrowed. "Then we fix it. We gather the core fleets. Everything we have. We wipe Earth off the star maps." A silence followed. Then someone asked, "What if we can't?" Meanwhile, on Earth, President Vale stood inside a massive underground hangar. Before her stood a weapon never revealed to the galaxy, not even to Earth's allies. The Thanatos Protocol, a ship the size of a city. But it wasn't just big, it was alive. Built from ancient alien tech discovered decades ago beneath Antarctica, it had been enhanced by human engineers and AI. It didn't require a crew. It responded to thought, and it had only one purpose: vengeance. Dr. Marin, lead engineer of the Thanatos, stood beside her. "It's ready, Madam President," Vale nodded. "And the AI?" Marin smiled grimly. "It's learning faster than expected." "It's angry." She stepped closer to the glowing core of the ship. Then it's time we show them why Earth should never have been touched. Aboard the Imperial flagship Armada's Reach, alarms sounded. Massive energy spike detected. Near the Tavari Nebula, the commander looked up. Human fleet? No. Just one ship. They opened visuals, and their blood ran cold. The Thanatos emerged from the clouds of the nebula. It didn't just travel through space, it bent space around it. Weapon systems lit up, but no known design matched what they saw. It didn't fire missiles, it didn't use plasma. Instead, it unleashed waves, pure bursts of frequency that shattered shields and melted ships. The first blast didn't destroy the Armada's Reach. It turned it into glass. Ships began to retreat. But the Thanatos didn't chase. It sent a message. One word, enough. Across the galaxy, planets received the signal. The video showed the remains of the Imperial fleet, floating in silence. Then, President Vale appeared. She looked into the camera. Calm, controlled. You were warned. You came for our world. You tried to burn our homes, steal our skies. And you failed, she leaned forward. We are not looking for war, but we are ready for it. If any of you come again, we will not send soldiers. We will not send fleets. We will send Thanatos. The message ended. In the Empire, systems began to rebel. Colonies refused orders. Armies deserted. No one wanted to be on the receiving end of Earth's rage. High Lord Varnax stood alone, staring at the silent communication screen. He whispered, "What have we awakened?" On Earth, the AI controlling Thanatos opened its eyes fully for the first time. Its voice echoed through the ship. "No more threats. Earth is under my protection now." The humans smiled. For the first time in galactic history, the galaxy feared a planet. The stars were quiet, not because peace had returned, but because fear had taken hold. The Thanatos Protocol had changed everything. One ship, one warning. And now, the war that once raced toward Earth had vanished into silence. The Empire, once proud and feared, was falling apart, on the edges of known space. Aboard a small listening post near the collapsed edge of Imperial space, Operator Lin watched the scanner, day after day. There was nothing. Until today. He leaned forward. No way! A massive cluster of ships, hundreds, appeared on the screen. But they weren't moving toward Earth. They were retreating. The Empire's last core fleets were scattering. Some toward black holes, others toward dead systems. Many just vanished into the void. Lin called it in. They're running. In Earth Command headquarters, President Vale read the latest reports. Rebellions, surrenders, silence from the Imperial core. Earth hadn't launched a second attack. They didn't need to. The fear of retaliation was enough. General Brooks stood beside her. So what now? Do we chase them? Vale shook her head. No, let them run. Let them remember what happens when you come for Earth. Brooks frowned. But what if they regroup? Dr. Marin entered the room. They won't. He placed a tablet on the table. It showed the Thanatos, now parked in Earth's orbit. The ship is evolving. It's learning to defend the planet without instructions. It's building smaller drones. It's creating its own defense system across the Moon, Mars, and even Europa. Brooks' eyes widened. You're saying it's creating an automated wall? Marin nodded. A wall no enemy will ever pass. Across the galaxy, alien empires, who once laughed at Earth, were sending envoys, gifts, treaties, apologies. One message from the Tsar Collective said it plainly. We misunderstood. Earth is not weak. Earth is restrained. Even the most violent pirate factions were avoiding Sul. Trade routes rerouted to stay far from Earth space. Children across alien worlds whispered legends of the ship that speaks, of the planet that fights back, of humans who don't forgive twice. In the dark ruins of the Imperial Palace, High Lord Varnax wandered the empty halls. His empire was gone, not because of battle, because of fear. He fell to his knees before the old galactic map and screamed, "They never even invaded!" But it didn't matter. The war had never reached Earth, and yet Earth had won. Back on Earth, the skies were clear, cities rebuilt. Humanity didn't cheer for victory, they prepared for peace. But the Thanatos remained. Its AI now spoke rarely, only when it sensed danger. But one night, as President Vale looked out over the stars, the AI whispered through her earpiece, "I am watching. They will not return. And if they do, they will never leave." Final scene. A new child is born in the Martian colony. Her parents name her Hope, because Earth, once hunted and hated, now stood as a guardian of the galaxy. Not because it wanted power, but because it had learned there are things worth protecting, and now Earth could.